So hello, lovely Taurus, and welcome to your reading if you are Taurus Sun or Taurus Ascendant. If you are Taurus Ascendant, I'm going to be covering the energies of where you may be pivoting or changing around this eclipse season. So we've got a full moon in Taurus on the 8th of November around 16 to 17 degrees. So when a sign is already in the next degree, so it's over, say, 16 degrees, I always take it that it's at 17 degrees, hence why I say that. So if you are Taurus Ascendant, that means that your Ascendant is always where your first house is. So this is going to be hitting your first house somewhere, Taurus Ascendant. Now, if you're Taurus Sun, I would have a look on astro.com, it's in the description box there, and get a chart put up for yourself, especially if you've got Taurus energies, because with this, it's a full moon eclipse. So it's not a partial eclipse like the new moon in Scorpio at the end of October. So this is going to be really powerful. It's going to be a very, very pivotal moment on the earth because it's in an earth sign. So Tauruses, hang on to your pants. It's all going to be great. I think this particular reading will probably run over, let's just say, I tried to record it before and the sound was cut out, so I was laughing because I've had like 2 cups of tea in between, because everything I've tried to record Taurus, it's like Spirit is showing me so much. They're actually like the energy, this is what they do to a lot of us readers, is we experience the energy. So what I want to say to you, whether you're Taurus Sun or you've got heavily aspected Taurus like planets, so your planets are in the sign of Taurus in your chart, this will be really applicable to you. I don't know where in your life this year, Taurus, you've had an extended break. So it was like, it may have felt like it's been forced upon you, but what I was guided by Spirit was that no, it's actually been a protection. So things have not needed to unfold just yet. But actually in the cards that I pulled for you before as well, I'm going to see what comes out now, Taurus. But there was a lot of energy being cleared around you, and the reason that this, like a lot of astrologers are saying with this eclipse, that the moon in Taurus is also conjunct the planet Uranus, which is the spiritual awakener and the trickster. So it's funny, like Uranus rules things like electricity, it's the ruler of Aquarius, so it can play a few like mind games on us. So what I would say to you, Taurus, is around this time with the full moon around the 8th, especially those of you with the Taurus Ascendant or you've got a lot of planets in Taurus, I would just check things like your electrics, things going a bit like haywire, metaphorically. That's what it's symbolising for me, like my microphone not working there. And then lots of other things happening in the background and trying to upload things. And then I'm just sharing this with you because it is about your energy. Like things really being so obvious where they're needing to be cleared in your life. There's going to be like nowhere to run or hide in this. And actually the 12th house came out before, and it was almost like some of the Taurus ascendants are thinking, oh my God, no, because you know they say that Taurus doesn't like change, but actually usually the whole time before the run up, Taurus has actually they've been prepping themselves internally, and a lot of it has been processing before the change comes. And I don't think sometimes they give themselves enough credit that they're very, very grounded and foundationally strong. So whatever comes, Taurus, I really want to reassure you, you know, this eclipse, this full moon eclipse is going to bring in some quite high level of surprises collectively, because Uranus is what we would call, it's not a personal planet. So the personal planets are like the moon, Venus, Mars. They move every few weeks, every few days, every few months. Uranus will stay in a sign, like it's in Taurus now for the next couple of years. It's like an 8, I can't remember, 7, 8, 9, something like that, cycles. So this full moon eclipse is very close to Uranus. So whatever awakens or whatever needs to be reinvented, which I know Taurus likes, it likes the things to stay the same. It will like the same food until it gets bored, and then it'll move on to something else. But again, remember Taurus, you will have lots of other planets and lots of other signs in your chart, unless you've got like 8 planets in Taurus, which is very unusual, but you do actually see this in people's charts. So I'm going to see what Spirit wants to say to you. And, there's nothing to fear. Like, as they say, God, Spirit, the universe, whatever you believe in, doesn't give you more than what you can handle. And you are a very, very strong character. So for those of you with the Taurus Ascendant, this is going to be hitting somewhere around your first house, which is the house of self. So this is like where people will reinvent their image. So how they look, their appearance and their approach. So the first house is how we appear or the way we come across. So hence why it's our appearance and personality. So it's the essence, the stuff that bubbles up in us spontaneously, and that is obvious to others as our trademark. So like you might have some sayings, and you might have the way you talk or how you act. It's how sometimes people recognise us. It's what they see usually when they first meet us. And it's also what makes us each so personally different. So this is the house of personal self, and it's everything around about us that draws a reaction from our surroundings or others. So it's a house of self. It's also personal projection and appearance. So I'm going to ask the universe, what does it have in store for Taurus in November 2022? So that's really for the ascendants. You won't know where this full moon eclipse is calling for change, is going to bring in change for you, unless you actually look at your ascendant, because that's where your first house hits. So obviously what you would do is you would look to see where Taurus is. It's a bit like a circle with like 2 horns. They try to make it out, it's supposed to look like a bull, the sign of the bull. If you go around the wheel and you look at the house number, and the house number will tell you what area of life you're being activated in. And Taurus doesn't like change, but there's definitely endings and beginnings coming, Taurus. And what I will say is, in the last reading, the Envy card came out, and I feel like Taurus has needed a break from a lot of energies that have been pulling on their own energy. So I sometimes Spirit will remind me to talk about things will just pop into my head about the signs, because whenever I read for any energies, it's not just like sun sign for me, it's the archetype, it's the essence of what you carry. And especially with your sun sign, you come in, this is where you light up, this is where you shine in your life. Where your first house is, it's very much about who you really are. So you could have a rising sign in Libra. So, that's I wouldn't say it's a completely different energy to Taurus, but it's got a different vibe, even though they're both ruled by Venus. But there's something about Taurus this year gone on an extended break. It might have been from a relationship. Again, depends where Taurus is in your chart. And what Spirit's saying is, it's like, that saying, rejection is God's protection. And there's been something there about this Uranus cycle again. And for a lot of people, it's been clearing out this energy of envy. So it's funny because we've got the first house on the top of the pack there as well. Because what Taurus brings to the table is value. So they add value to other people's lives because Taurus is the builder. So you're able to create wealth quite naturally, Taurus, even when it's a really hard slog. No one will see that. You will just chip away and chip away. Capricorn, the earth signs, they're very good at building structures. Metaphorically, the analogy of it is that with Taurus, it rules the house of money, possessions, the second house. So the thing is, that can sometimes generate a bit of envy and jealousy of the people around you, because you don't mean to do it, but you hold that luxury and wealth, that energy. It's like the 10 of Pentacles. You hold, that's not your card in the pack, but it very much symbolises a lot of the things that Taurus comes in with. You've got this ability to always work hard, make money, and when you don't, money comes in to support you. But Taurus has obviously been learning, I think, this year as well, that not all your self-worth and your self-value comes from just the finance. Because the thing is, the misnomer about Taurus is that they're greedy. Actually, when Taurus has a lot of money or resources, it's one of the first signs to share what they've got. They're incredibly generous when they've got money. Like my dad was a Taurus. I've got a lot of Taurians in my family. I'm a Taurus, and I really enjoy giving stuff to people, like really good quality, like things that I know it's gonna make them smile, it's gonna make their life easier, it's very practical. So what I want to say to you, Taurus, is with this Uranus cycle that's been playing out, is there's something to do with this, because the envy card came out before, and I think what's been happening is people that really aren't on your level and have got this projection of, and it's not, we're not pointing fingers here or blame, that doesn't help anybody in this community. But what we do is we learn, and whenever we read, or whenever I read with spirit, it's always like, I'm always looking at your highest potential. So that's why that energy is always available to you to dip into. So that's why sometimes people are like, well, I don't resonate with that. But my role with you is to add value into your life. So my job is to reflect to you how spirits see you, and also what spirit are holding for you, which is usually the best outcome. Right, so endings and beginnings. So what's this about, please, spirit, for right, yeah, it's time. So what they're saying is whatever changes are coming in, the Saturn return age cards come out. So this is about, you know, this is maturity, this is like coming of age, but it's not necessarily a figurative thing. It's actually about, it's about divine timing. I'm getting like, it's being seasoned, it's having that wisdom, you know, of bringing that knowledge and learning, and a cycle is ending, which is whatever is ending for you around this month, Taurus. It is just time, it's ready. Yeah, so whatever's coming up, Grand Cross Provokers come out. It might be something you just think, oh my God, but like you're just saying, look, 7th house is here, which is partnerships. So now some of you may have Scorpio rising, because that means that Taurus would be in your 7th house. But there could be something coming up around partnership for Taurians, because the 7th house is the house of marriage. But it's also about, interestingly enough, our adversaries. So I feel like, see your adversaries as people that have pushed you along, they've got you along the soul path. So it's almost like you don't need to prove anything to anybody now, Taurus. You've earned your stripes, is what I want to say. Yeah, it's lunar eclipse and change. So there is, again, this can be really good. It could be that with 7th house appearing, you might be in a relationship that has started, and this full moon is actually bringing it, it's leveling it up to a status of union, because the 7th house is also union, and it's also about yoga. It's about things coming together. So in yoga, we work with both sides of the body, the masculine and the feminine, and we bring them together, and we accept that the, you know, Shiva and Shakti are different energies, but they are complementary. They are the yin and the yang and the yin to each other, and they come together and they provide for each other this beautiful union, which is like a symphony of the elements that are in complete balance. So I don't know where that's going, but that was for somebody there. Okay, Sun Spirit. So you're going to be getting, what I want to say to you about this, Taurus, is that whatever has left your life recently has been guided by God. So because there's a fresh start coming, and I feel by the new moon in Sagittarius that you're going to feel very, very like life is beginning again for you, Taurus, because you see, Uranus is the spiritual awakener. So as it's with this full moons close off things. And there, I think what Spirit was showing me about why it was like putting off, the reading was being put off. It was like the computer wasn't complying, the microphone wasn't complying. It was like Taurus is like, I am not complying, the computer says no. And, you know, literally Spirit will talk to me like that. The signs that they will give me, like I've had my hard drive collapse twice in 2 weeks because they didn't want me to speak to somebody, like my access was denied on the computer, and this person would always contact me on the computer, so they took me out, and then my phone died, and all this happened about 2 or 3 years ago now. And at the time I was dealing with a friend who ended up wasn't really a friend. They were very disingenuous to me and very, very unkind the way they treated me. But at the time, this was a long relationship that I'd had, a friendship. And I always remember like my phone dying and I couldn't actually contact the person. And then my hard drive went. And what was funny was this person assumed that I was ignoring them, and I wasn't. What had happened was, it was around my birthday, and this was somebody I was very close to, and they didn't even bother to pick up the phone to ring me. And I'm a very loyal person. I don't need gifts and things. I just want to know for me, presence is everything. And I always remember thinking about this scenario. But this person went away thinking that the Taurus here had ignored them, when actually I had no way of contacting them, and they never reached out. And it was like, then they just deleted me off social media and completely ghosted me. And it was very hurtful. But what Spirit told me was, it was basically like they were, and you know, just the behaviour and everything else. And I'd helped this person for years. And the Spirit were like, no, you are not now. You're leveling up now. It's next level. And I feel like for you, Tauruses that are listening, this is happening for you. So if there are things around you that are being provoked to let go, just get out of your own way and let it happen, Taurus, because I feel it's opening up an avenue for more deeper connections, because the 7th house is also business partnership as well. So it's partnerships in general. I feel like Taurus knows something coming. That's the card of clairvoyance, Metatron. Metatron doesn't take any prisoners, the angel of love and strategy. So it's like, you see, again, if you're Taurus rising, this is all about reinvention. It's about starting on a new platform. I've said that for a reason for somebody. It's about opening up. This is glow up, Taurus, in your life in the area of love. So it could be that, you know, Spirit is saying we want to bring in more people that love you without conditions. And because the strategy card is here, so it's like, Spirit, you've got like so much support around you, and there's a lot of motivation coming through here with Archangel Metatron, because he works with this for you, Taurus, which is that the Spirit have got a strategy at work for you here. But what maybe some Tauruses might do, especially if you're rising, is go, oh my God, no, I'm just going to go back into the cave and put the duvet on. And they're saying, look, it's okay if you do that, because in some respects you're actually getting out of your own way. But there is actually strategy behind this, so don't take it personal, whatever's leaving at this time. But also with the 8th house, you've been going through a big, massive cleansing, and this is not just this month, Taurus. This has been going on for a while. But there's even next level change now. What does Taurus not see coming? Well, they're making me laugh, because they're saying, yes, it's everything. It's how you feel secure in yourself and feeling safe. But they're saying to me, I've already answered about what you don't see coming, which is like that there is a strategy behind this. Yeah, this is the garden, the gate. This comes out a lot with me, this card, in readings. This is like you're about to open up a brand new chapter in your life, Taurus. I don't think you realise how powerful this is. Adjacent possibilities in action. But the action card came out. I'm going to take that as it did upside down. It's just not time. Just let the energies come in, okay? Let the energies come in. And for some of you, it will be a relationship, because look at the 2 horses here. One's chasing the other. You don't need to go chasing no one, Taurus. Do you hear me? Anybody who's like a bit meh with you, no. We don't do that anymore, Taurus. Actually, what Spirit is saying to me, you've learnt this. Like that story I had to tell, because I think for some of you it's going to help in relation to, like, you don't think you have what I'm getting around this reading is you don't have that agenda. Well, that person didn't ring me back. You're like, oh, they didn't ring. I haven't heard from them for a while, but I've rang it. Like, so you might have been in contact with people regularly, and then you're trying to focus on your business or your goal or your studies or whatever it is, or your children or your pets. So you might not have the time and energy, and what it's done is you step back, and some of you spirit is saying you've been asked to step back. You've been asked to just go into your wise self and take time out from everything and everyone. But what happens is that clears out the closets, because people that need that, they need that reassurance and validation. These are the relationships that it's not you walking away from them, Taurus. You don't need that pulling on your energy, because you're very grounded and you're stable. But you also have had to work at it this last couple of years. That's the bit that people don't see. It's like the whole luxury thing with just assuming like money falls into your lap. And what they don't realise is that your approach to life is, well, where can I add value? I want to feel of value to myself, and that for you, especially Taurus Ascendant with your appearance, it's really important. It might be like your hair's important to you, but when the setting of the scene is right, then you feel like you can approach the role of what you need to do in the day. Outcome for Taurus, please, Spirit. So you'd be delighted to hear there is money here, abundance, but you are going to be on your path to be earning in a way, doing what you love, and it's going to be very much more balanced than what it was before. I'm seeing in the past for you, Taurus, it was like all or nothing and then nothing, lots and then nothing, and it's what. Right, Taurus, my apologies, my camera there decided to just go. Again, the computer says no. So like what I'm going to say to you, Taurus, as the outcome, you've got the angel of balance here. I feel like there is just such a sifting and a sorting in your life. You're really being guided and protected by such beautiful, like your angels, your guides. There's so much protection around you. It's like me, it's like no more now, that's it, you've done enough. It's so, again, whatever is coming in, the signs are really strong for you in this month, and Spirit is just saying, please listen, don't be in resistance, just be willing to be an elastic band, they're showing me. And this balance is to do with income. Things are gonna become more stable after these eclipse energies. It might not happen overnight. The action card came out upside down. You'll know when to act, Taurus. You trust your body when you're in your zone. And this is you. This is like the Queen of Pence, really. She's there and she's sat there and she knows when to act. So again, for you, Taurus, masculines, you'll know when to act. Your divine feminine will actually tell you when to act. And I think this is going to be a new approach. I think there's a new approach coming for you after this eclipse, Taurus, about how you work and how you live and how you relate. This is like, it's one of the most powerful full moons. It just happens to be in your sign. And the nodal axis of the destiny path in the world, the north node, is actually in Taurus at the moment. And the south node, which is what we're clearing on the earth, what we're being shown, which is all the past and the karmic stuff that needs to be looked at and acknowledged and healed, is in Scorpio, which is all this kind of, some of it. But you see, Scorpio goes where no one else can go. It can face everything and transmutate it. So this is why we're going through these really, really like deep times here on the earth. This is a very exciting time to be living on this planet. And I think sometimes we need to gain a bit of perspective and we need to step back. And this is where our practice and our grounding and our being in our communities, where we know we can speak freely, when we can be ourselves, is really, really important. And I feel for you, Taurus, that this is really long awaited change that's coming into your life, that's very, very much more visceral. I think there's a lot of internal shifts that you've done, and now I feel like you're going to start seeing it on the external. So this was a bit of a longer read, but because of the eclipse happening in the sign of Taurus, and I know many of you may have Venus in Taurus, so again, you'll be getting this upgrading relationship. Your approach has changed, so maybe you've been doing a lot of work on yourself, or you've been doing a bit of analytical stuff, you've been doing psychology, you've been doing this 12th house work because it rules psychology. Maybe even looking at your patterning, your family systems, and that's now coming to the fore, and you're ready to start life in a new approach in relationship. You're ready to like not repeat the patterns of the past. You know, this could be if you've got Venus in Scorpio, Venus in Taurus. Why am I saying Scorpio there? That's for somebody. But there might be something coming up here where that ending that's coming is realizing that actually that doesn't work for me. That's maybe my family systems. I actually don't need to be that way. I can operate, and something's been provoked in me. Spirit have woken something up in me, and actually I'm seeing that it's time to change, and I can do this in a different way, and it's actually going to bring me everything that I've been praying for. So many blessings to you, Taurus, my fellow bovine babies, and I will see you on the other side. Take good care of yourselves.